Picture this. It's a foggy autumn night in 1837, the kind of damp chill that seeps into your bones as you hurry along the narrow, gas-lit streets of London. The cobblestones glisten under flickering lamps, and the air carries the acrid tang of coal smoke mixed with the distant clamour of horse-drawn carriages. You're a young woman named Jane Alsop, making your way home through the suburb of Blackheath after visiting friends. Suddenly, from the shadows of an alleyway, a figure vaults over a tall iron fence like it's nothing, landing with a metallic clang that echoes through the night. Before you can react, it's upon you. A tall, cloaked man with eyes like burning coals, his breath exhaling blue flames as he tears at your dress with razor-sharp claws. You scream, but he laughs, a high, demonic cackle, and leaps away into the darkness, bounding onto rooftops in impossible arcs. This wasn't a mugger or a madman. This was Spring-Heeled Jack, the leaping demon who would terrorize Victorian England for decades, turning everyday streets into arenas of nightmare and sparking a legend that blurred the line between prank predator and phantom. To grasp how Spring-Heeled Jack burst into the collective fear of a nation, we need to step into the throbbing heart of Victorian London, a city exploding with change and contradiction. This was the era of Queen Victoria's ascension in 1837, when Britain was the workshop of the world, its empire sprawling across maps in red ink. But beneath the grandeur of the Crystal Palace and the steam engines chugging along newly laid railways, London was a labyrinth of inequality. The population had ballooned to over 2 million, crammed into sprawling slums where cholera lurked in the water and workhouses devoured the poor. Gas lamps were a novelty, casting pools of yellow light on streets still patrolled by bow-legged watchmen with rattles and lanterns. Superstitions lingered like the fog from the Thames. Penny dreadfuls peddled tales of ghosts and ghouls, and spiritualism was on the rise, promising contact with the dead. In the suburbs like Blackheath or Aldershot, middle-class families sought escape from the city's grime. But the night brought its own dangers: footpads, burglars, and now, something far stranger. The first whispers of Jack came in the autumn of 1837, though some say sightings trickled back earlier in rural areas. In October, a servant girl in Barnes reported a tall figure in a white cloak leaping over hedges, his laughter chilling the air. But it was Jane Alsop's encounter on the night of February 18, 1838, that ignited the frenzy. Jane, 18 years old and living with her family in a modest terraced house on Bearbinder Lane in Old Ford, answered a violent knocking at the door around 8:45 p.m. A man outside, claiming to be a policeman, shouted, "For God's sake, bring me a light! We have caught Spring-Heeled Jack here in the lane." Trusting the authority, Jane grabbed a candle and stepped out. That's when the horror unfolded. The figure threw off his cloak, revealing a tight-fitting white oilskin suit that gleamed unnaturally, a helmet like a knight's, and those infernal eyes glowing red. He vomited forth blue and white flames from his mouth, like a dragon from hell, and clawed at her arms and dress, ripping fabric and skin. Jane's screams brought her sister, who pulled her inside, but Jack vaulted over the garden wall in a single bound, vanishing into the night. The family reported it to the police, and Jane described him in detail: tall, thin, with a gentlemanly carriage despite the demonic acts, carrying a lantern like a bullseye police light. Word spread like wildfire through the penny press. The Morning Chronicle and the Times ran breathless accounts, dubbing him Spring-Heeled Jack for his extraordinary leaps. Some said up to 30 feet high or across wide streets. Panic gripped the suburbs. Women refused to walk alone after dark, and vigilante groups formed, patrolling with cudgels and pistols. Lord Mayor Sir John Cowan even addressed the phenomenon at a public meeting in February 1838, reading anonymous letters warning of a bet among noblemen to terrify the city. One letter claimed the perpetrator was a Marquis with a mechanical spring device in his boots. Another pointed to an Irish noble obsessed with devilish pranks. But no arrests followed, and the sightings escalated. Just days after Jane's attack, on February 20th, 1838, 18-year-old Lucy Scales and her sister Margaret were walking home through Green Dragon Alley in Limehouse, a notorious rookery of narrow passages reeking of gin and refuse. As they passed a dark corner, a tall figure in a black cloak sprang from the shadows, breathing blue fire into Lucy's face. She collapsed in convulsions, blinded temporarily by the flames, her screams echoing off the brick walls. Margaret described the assailant as having a gaunt face, large ears, and claws that sparkled like metal. He laughed maniacally before leaping onto a nearby rooftop, his cape billowing like bat wings. The sisters' father, a local butcher, vowed revenge, but Jack was gone, leaving only scorched earth and terror. As winter turned to spring, Jack's antics spread beyond London. In April 1838, reports came from the Midlands, a figure bounding across fields in Warwickshire, scaring farmhands. But he always returned to the capital's edges. The cultural impact was immediate. Music halls mocked him in songs like Spring-Heeled Jack, the Terror of London, and puppet shows depicted his leaps. Yet beneath the ridicule was genuine fear. Victorian society was obsessed with control, railways taming distance, police forces organizing chaos. But Jack defied it all. He was the ultimate bogeyman for an age anxious about the supernatural invading the modern world. Spiritualism's rise, with seances in drawing rooms, made people wonder, was Jack a ghost, a demon summoned by some occult rite? The year 1838 saw a lull, but Jack resurfaced with vengeance in the 1840s. In 1843, he struck in Northampton, leaping over the toll bridge and assaulting a carter. Witnesses described him wearing a sheepskin suit with horns, exhaling fire. Then, in 1845, a prostitute named Maria Davis was thrown into the dirty waters of Folly Ditch in Jacob's Island, a Bermondsey slum immortalized by Dickens as a cesspool of crime. Jack allegedly appeared on the bridge, his eyes ablaze, and hurled her in before vanishing. Though she survived, the incident fueled rumors of murder. Police investigated, but no body or concrete evidence emerged. By the 1850s, Jack had become a fixture in folklore, his image evolving. Early accounts painted him as devilish but non-lethal, more prankster than killer. But as decades passed, tales grew darker. In 1855, in Devon, a girl claimed he slapped her with icy hands before bounding away. The 1860s brought military encounters. In Aldershot Camp, sentries fired at a leaping figure who rattled his claws against barracks windows, bullets seemingly bouncing off his chest. One soldier swore Jack tore the cheek of a comrade with metal talons. The army investigated, suspecting a prank by a mischievous officer, but nothing stuck. The peak of hysteria came in the 1870s. In November 1872, London was again in grips. The Peckham ghost, or renewed Jack sightings. At night in Camberwell, a figure leaped onto omnibuses, scaring horses and passengers. In Liverpool, 1877 marked one of the last major waves. Hundreds mobbed the streets after reports of Jack on rooftops in Everton, his laughter piercing the night. A crowd pelted him with stones. He jumped from house to house, evading capture. One witness, a policeman, fired his revolver, but Jack mocked him with a salute before disappearing. Sightings trickled into the 1880s and even early 1900s. In 1904, in Everton again, a cloaked leaper with spring boots terrified residents. But by then, the world had changed. Electric lights banished shadows, automobiles replaced hansoms, and World War I loomed. Jack faded into legend, inspiring penny dreadfuls like Spring-Heeled Jack, the Terror of London, serialized in 1867, which turned him into a heroic vigilante in some versions, fighting crime with his leaps. Who was he really? Theories abound, grounded in the era's realities. The most prosaic, a prankster aristocrat, perhaps Henry de la Poer Beresford, the Marquess of Waterford, known as the Mad Marquis for his wild antics in the 1830s. Exiled to Ireland after scandals, he had the athleticism, wealth for gadgets, and motive, bets among nobles to outdo each other in scares. His red hair matched some descriptions, and he died in 1859, aligning with a sighting dip. Others point to mechanical springs. Victorian inventors experimented with pogo-like devices, and tight oilskin suits could conceal them. The fire-breathing, likely a chemical trick, phosphorus or a blowpipe with alcohol. But folklore insists on more. Some saw Jack as a ghost of a murdered man, others a demon from hell, his invulnerability to bullets echoing tales of spring-heeled Jack in earlier European folklore, like jumping spirits in Germany. In an age when Darwin shook faith and industrialization alienated souls, Jack embodied the uncanny, the old world of myth crashing into the new. His legacy: he birthed the urban legend archetype, influencing characters like Batman with rooftop leaps and caped justice. Modern sightings persist, but the Victorian Jack remains the original terror. In the fog of those gaslit nights, he was real enough to make hearts stop. And who knows, in some shadowed alley, a spring might still echo.